Hi, I'm Mick Cox and I'm your presenter today on the cause of diabetes. You could see my other videos, Rainbows Are Magnetic by Mick Cox. Put it in the YouTube search and you'll find it, only YouTube search. Now the cause of diabetes today and a lot of other immune deficiency syndromes and etc. like Hashimodo's is this, exactly what is written here on the board. I'm not going to obscure your view by putting my arm in front of it. So what I need to tell you is this. This is the evidence that the minerals that are depleted in the soils, up to 83 plus trace minerals depleted in the soils, especially selenium, which produces the male sperm, is depleted in all of the farming soils. I saw a number of YouTube videos recently saying that scientists have been sent out to test global farming soils and they are depleted, completely depleted in minerals. But let me tell you that my professor of naturopathy in college, the Australian College of Natural Medicine that was here in Brisbane, I give gratitude to Mrs. Michelle Blondell, who taught the class, I think it was 29 years ago. She said that the farming soils in the outskirts of Brisbane, what we call the salad bowl, Gatton area, etc., are depleted of minerals. She said that 29 years ago, and I scoffed at it. I didn't physically scoff at it in the classroom, but I thought, well, I don't really believe that. And let me tell you that even though you don't believe in some things that you're told, it might be 29 years later that the penny drops and how profound it can be. So don't disregard anything that you're ever told or taught, because memorize it and just commit it to memory, and it's okay. It's healthy to be questionable on things. You'll have to excuse me this morning in my mannerism. I've got Asperger's and I've got dyslexia, which is incredibly bad. My dyslexia stems into my speech sometimes, but this is an important thing to tell you, and I'm going to be forgetting some of the more favourable words that describe some things. So don't question. It's healthy to question everything. It's not healthy to disregard everything. So let me tell you this, that the main problem with diabetes in males, I had it and I cured myself. I wouldn't say totally cured, but to a very high percentage cured. So the problem with diabetes, the number one problem with diabetes in males, is that it lowers your sperm count, and your sperm count is your steroids. I study natural steroids nowadays, and that's helping me to overcome it, and some of the people that are coming to me as clients. But let me tell you that the main producing mineral of sperm, which is your steroids, is selenium. Selenium produces male sperm. There are of course other things, minerals that might help produce male sperm, but selenium is very good. I'm not recommending that you do, because I'm not a qualified naturopath, but I've been studying it ever since in those 29 years thereafter. I take 200 micrograms of selenium every now and then, but I've even been able to cut that back because I'm taking alternatives that have selenium in them. So let me tell you that there are other sorts of male problems that come with diabetes and natural steroids. One of the most mildest is peppermint, and I'll tell you how to grow peppermint in a moment. So let me tell you that what I'm about to tell you is that I found that the grocery stores selling baby spinach and etc. Weren't anywhere near as potent as the spinach I grew at home in premium soils, premium topsoils or etc. that I put in the gardens. I'm not big at the moment on growing vegetables and etc. but I can tell you through that one little tiny experiment that showed me about 1% of what can occur with growing your own vegetables was quite impacting on me, and so it's going to be a change of lifestyle for the tradie, and he's going to be growing his own vegetables. There's quite a few things to tell you today. You've got the foundation of it right now, but I'm going to give you some circumstantial evidence surrounding. It's quite strong evidence, but it's not direct evidence because I'm not a scientist and can prove it with tests. But I'm going to tell you the things that I found. I already told you one of them already, but let me give you the details. I eat a small bag, 200 grams or so, 100 grams, sorry, or so of spinach every day, once a day maybe. I also have pea-based protein powder, which is 85%, and you've got to back that protein powder up so as your body absorbs it with amino acids. One of the pea-based protein powders that I buy online has up to 18 amino acids in it, and I've studied some of those amino acids. Some of those amino acids go way back in time, 25 years ago, when I did do personal studies by sampling them, and I found that some of those, 3 or 4 of those that are in those 18 amino acid supplements that are in the pea-based protein powder at 85-82%, some of those are a laxative because you're going to need it. But let me tell you another alternative to laxatives while I'm on the subject. It's something that I've discovered recently, is to use castor oil. It's a fantastic, progressive, if I can put it that way, laxative, and I do it by navel pulling. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I rub the castor oil into my navel. They call that navel pulling, and I intend on trying to shave this area and use some 100-mile-per-hour duct tape and a bit of cotton wool to hold it in. Maybe that might be too severe, but it won't be too severe if I just use less of the castor oil. But just rubbing a couple of drops in there progressively over a couple of days, it's been fantastic, absolutely fantastic as a progressive and gentle laxative. So let me tell you this, I found that eating those, I think they might have been 50-gram packets of, hold on one second and we'll be sure of it. Yeah, I'm rummaging around in my bin. Crikey's, what happened to this morning's packet of empty packet? Well, here it is. Here's the empty packet. I might have to edit this. If you're seeing that rummaging in the bin and it's unedited. 120 grams of baby spinach. They have larger packets, of course, double the size. Sometimes on a really active day, I'll have 2 packets of those, or one of the large packets. And I am totally exhausted at the moment. Let me catch my breath. And that's what exhausted is. It's a lack of oxygen, exhausted. Now, it makes you very, very active. So I'm also low in iron, so I'm getting some dizzy spells while I'm doing the video. I'm going to have a drink of water, and like I say, you're catching the unedited version. So water is utmost important. Water is very important. I feel so much better now after a bit of a glass of water. That's one of the symptoms also of diabetes. But especially of along the lines of hypoglycemia. The doctors will always tell you to drink a glass of water in the mornings. So, where am I at? So the soil's depleted of 84 plus trace minerals. The reason why I put plus is because I'm sure there's more there than we even know. Another important thing to tell you is that I saw scientists on YouTube saying, I better jump back and I better tell you, finish off the story on the packets of baby spinach. So that 120 gram packet of baby spinach in the morning, I was having that very often. I've been doing it for about 2 years, and then I started growing a small amount. I think it was only one plant at first of English spinach in the premium topsoil garden that I had built out the back. I built it years ago, but never started growing anything until recently, unfortunately. So let me tell you that 1 week things happened for a reason. I felt I wasn't, but I felt that I was low on money, maybe cash in my pocket on the day or something, some clearance funds coming or something like that. So anyway, I didn't zip down the shop to grab some spinach. What I did was I thought, hang on a second, I've got that one plant of English spinach in the yard. It's not going fantastically, but I might try that in my smoothie instead of 120 grams of English spinach from the shop. So I grabbed it, I clipped it, and I also clipped, because it was growing next to it, some peppermint growing in the premium topsoil as well. I had tried peppermint before and it was good as a mild steroid and certainly a digestive effect. The peppermint, not mint, peppermint. Peppermint was what I was guided to. And so anyhow, I clipped the English spinach plant. I should have pulled the whole thing out, cleaned the roots off, and stick blended the roots as well, but I didn't. I just clipped the plant itself, and I also clipped some peppermint that was sitting next to it. I stick mixed it, and when I stick mixed it, I thought to myself, there's about a quarter of what I normally have. But let me tell you, that quarter was 3 times more potent than the packet of English spinach. That is a substantial fact. Man, you can stop the video right now and go down to your hardware or wherever you and get some seeds and some premium soil and start growing yourself. It's important, I'm telling you. And so also the other thing that I've been doing is having some lemon, which is alkaline, as far as I know, and also having some oranges. But I don't just cut the oranges and eat the flesh. I stick mix the whole orange. I stick mix the whole lemon. And I drink that just by itself with lots of water about half an hour before I eat the spinach and protein powder, pea-based protein powder. The pea-based protein powder online is very cheap, about 1/3 of what you'll pay in the shops for whey protein. Whey protein, I tried it. It gives you a little bit of a podgy stomach. And I'm not going to go into the details of the scientifics of it, but just take it from me. It gives you a little bit of a podgy stomach, so it's not being digested properly, bottom line. And so let me get on to the next thing, which confirms that it's the trace minerals that are important for diabetes function. For function to get rid of whilst having diabetes, or to avoid diabetes and Hashimoto's and things like that. So what happened was, instead of a coffee in the mornings, I started dropping a Barocca into a glass, and I'm using a brand name, and I wasn't really into that brand name at first, but it does have twice the potency of potassium, which is the extremely important other functioning mineral. You can't get potassium now off the shelf of the chemists. You have to get it under prescription. The same thing, and it's an inconceivably vital mineral. Another important vital mineral is manganese, not magnesium, not anything else. I'm telling you that manganese is important, but you can overdose in manganese, which is bad for you. But have a look at what manganese deficiency does to you. It's just mind-blowing, and the same goes for potassium deficiency. It's incredible. So the Baroccas, and what happened was I started upping the number of Baroccas I was having during the day. I would have up to 3, sometimes 4 of them a day, and somebody said, hey, that's really bad for your kidneys, so I've heard. Well, I'm not going to drink those other energy drinks, you know, that are out there and stuff. I'm not going to be drinking those, so I'm drinking Berocca, and hey, I'll take the risk on my kidneys because it's returning fantastic results, and I'm going to find an alternative. Maybe, just maybe, I'll start eating some of this premium topsoil. Don't laugh, don't laugh. Other things that I'm going to be getting into, believe it or not, are wild dandelion. Not the flowers, because the flowers are a diuretic, but I'm going to be trying some wild dandelion, going out into the fields, into the forests and etc. locally in the paddocks, and getting some wild dandelion. Hopefully from some of the areas that haven't been farmed, that have only been cattle. Cattle are good as far as I'm concerned in fertilising the soils with their manure. Everybody uses cow manure or horse manure, etc. Horse manure is said to be a bit strong, but let me tell you that this kerfuffle about cattle and their methane emissions, well, they say that it's only 5% or so of emissions of methane by the cattle that's disturbing us, and 5% isn't much. It's only 1/20th. There is a particular thing in nature that produces 80% of all methane, and let me tell you, just that one item, we aren't going to be getting rid of that in a hurry, but there are some things being done, like areas being built up and etc. in those types of areas which cause 80% of methane gases. That's swamps and bogs and things like that. So and any of the lakes, with my guess, with algae etc. that are on them. Blue algae would be a bad one, you know. So and it comes off the oceans as well. They can't figure out how methane comes off the oceans, but let me tell you, 80% of methane is coming from the swamps and bogs and wetlands. We don't want to get rid of them, but I think that they are important. What should happen is somehow we should be collecting that methane and burning it. It's a clean burning gas in vehicles and etc. So it's slightly different to natural gas out of the ground. Natural gas out of the ground has around about, I think, 89% or so of methane gas plus other things in it. Sulfur would be in there, of course, which is a problem. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to probably come back and tell you a few more subjects, but that's what's happening. Let me go back to the Baroccas that I was taking. What I found was the last thing that was lingering around with diabetes for me was that I was frequently urinating, disturbing my sleep during the night, sometimes 3 or 4 times a night getting up. And it can be worse than that if you've got really bad diabetes, because it was worse for me. But on the Baroccas, with the potassium and the other minerals that were in there, what happened was I suddenly discovered about a week, maybe a week and a half later, that I had stopped frequently urinating. It was just once in the morning when I woke up, and it took me about a week to realise that's what had happened, and that's because I was getting fantastic sleep, undisturbed sleep, to have to get up, etc. There are some other things that I would like to tell you. I can't think of them right now, but there were other things I would have liked to have told you. But there's the cause of what's causing diabetes and Hashimoto's, etc. All of the soils throughout the entire world are depleted, totally void of minerals. The 84 plus trace minerals. So the other thing I was going to say was there was a scientist that they sent around the world to test soils every year, from what I gather. And in 2003, he said that aluminium was at a 0% content in the soils. 2003, 0% content. And he was also talking about high in the Himalayas and stuff like that. So he went back recently, I think it was early 2024, he went back and said that there's something like 800 milligrams per whatever. There's just 800 times more than what there was in 2003 of aluminium. So aluminium causes dementia and all the rest of it. I don't know why, but somebody must be intentionally scattering aluminium and other minerals around the earth that aren't the good ones. So there we go. What do we got? 22 minutes, and hopefully you'll enjoy that.